He couldn't even see it. For days, he did nothing but observe. No action, just watching. Mapping connections, tracking behavior, understanding flow. His brain built a model, a complete system in his head. And then, he asked himself one question. What happens if I change one thing? That question changed everything. Weeks passed. Ethan prepared carefully. He didn't rush. He didn't guess. He didn't understand people because people were never his world. Computers were, patterns were, control was. The case became national news. 14-year-old hacker behind 37 million